Yeah,
Um,
right.
but yeah, thanks a ton for agreeing to do this. It should
Yeah,
be
no problem.
pretty informal. And yeah, if there's anything you don't want to answer, no pressure. But
Okay,
most
yeah,
Talkatoo, it's nothing too intrusive. So
okay, that's
um,
fine.
yeah, just to kick things off, I was hoping you could tell me a little bit about your veterinary practice and your role there.
Yeah, so, I am the sole owner. So we are a 24-hour emergency hospital, and we see small animals and exotics.
Okay. And the name of your practice? So
We are the Emergency Veterinary Hospital.
cool. When did the practice start? How many staff do you guys currently have?
So I opened the practice in 2012. Um, and I was very young. I had just graduated 2 years, 2.5 years before that,
Oh wow.
and had this genius idea to open a 24-hour ER at the ripe age of 28 with two,
Wow.
two kids under the age of two.
No
So,
way.
uh, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, so we opened in 2012.
Mm,
And so that was what, like 8.5 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah. Currently we have 27 staff
Wow.
members. Yeah, we run we're typically kind of a smaller group, even though we're a very busy practice.
Mhm.
We carry most of the emergency work for the Ann Arbor area.
Okay.
Um, but we carry a pretty small crew typically because we're very selective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's been working out for you then in that case. But
Mhm.
sounds like you
Mhm.
must be busy.
Yeah.
Um, Cool. So the next question is just around challenges, and if there's any challenges that you were facing that led you to kind of initiate a search for Talkatoo. And if I understand correctly, it might not have even been you that discovered Talkatoo.
Yeah, it was not. I can't take credit for it. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about, part of who we are is, I think we're always taught in business courses in vet school that you need to improve efficiency of your practice
Mhm.
in order to improve revenue.
Yep.
And while I understand that and I agree with that philosophy, it doesn't really fit with who we are at EVH.
Mhm.
We're very patient centered with our medicine.
Yeah.
And so as a result, our goal is really to reach as many patients as we possibly can, and we believe that the finances just flow in with that. So for
Yeah.
us, we kind of took the opposite approach of most practices with that. So we are always looking for new ways to improve the efficiency of our practice. And what I was noticing is that my doctors, they're very thorough and they're very detailed with their medical records, which is imperative to have as a doctor.
Yeah.
um, However, with the caseload that we're seeing and the complexity of the cases that we're seeing, the records just were such a burden for the doctors to be keeping up with.
Mhm.
And so we were really looking for a tool that could help us improve the efficiency for our doctors so that they could get home in a timely manner. And we could really enhance this work-life balance philosophy that we keep trying, the holy grail, right, in veterinary medicine that we're all trying to pursue is this
Yeah.
work-life balance. So, yeah, so it was really essential for us to improve the efficiency of our workflow for our doctors, I think, and get them home in a timely manner. So we needed something that could help us dictate our records a little more thoroughly and precisely.
Yep.
There are other products out there on the market, and I had some experience encountering the founders of some of those other companies, and I was not impressed with
Okay.
their demeanor, and um, I just didn't get a good vibe from them at
Sure.
all.
Yep.
And so, therefore, we didn't try their products because we didn't like the attitude of the head honchos for those companies.
Yep.
And so it was actually one of my doctors, Dr. Brown, who I had seen the ads for Talkatoo,
Yep.
but I hadn't, in all honesty, I was like, oh my gosh, these other two companies we looked at, the CEOs were so rude.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if I want to look into another company, I'm scared to. And so Dr. Brown actually looked into it and she came to me and said, "You really gotta try this."
Yeah.
So it's all the credit goes to her.
Wow.
I actually use it more than she does now, ironically. So, yeah. Um, definitely it's been a very, essential tool for our facility.
Cool. Yeah, that's
Mhm,
awesome. I really like that
mhm.
philosophy too. It makes me think of we ordered from a restaurant. Obviously, during COVID, there's no eating in, but we got a delivery, and one of the cards it said like, um, "We believe if we treat our staff members right, then they'll treat our customers right."
Absolutely,
And I think it's a similar philosophy, obviously, that you're doing. So it's cool that you, I guess,
absolutely.
this solution to relieve some of the stress and from your
Yeah,
side so they can offer the best possible support to your ultimately your
yeah.
clients. So yeah, that's
Yeah, and
really
it's very unique to find a company that, just like we're very selective of who we hire, we don't hire warm bodies at our facility.
yeah,
They need to be very committed and authentic individuals in order to work for us.
yeah,
And we expect the same from the companies that we work with. So we're
yeah,
very selective about the companies that we do choose to work with. And not only do their products have to be able to keep up with the growing demands of our facility and the changing needs of our facility as our efficiency increases and our caseload increases. We also need companies that we want to work with companies who are obviously nice to their customers in an authentic way, right? Not just superficially.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, that's
kind of
awesome.
served both purposes there. Mhm.
Yeah, I think by you holding those values, you attract the right type of people to come
Yeah,
work for you as well. I think
absolutely.
yeah, I think that's definitely something that we've had in our company. We go by 7 core values, and it's similar along those lines. We look for that
Yes.
thing, and that's why I enjoy working here, and it's good to hear that kind of it's rubbing outside of the company, and
Yeah,
you and other people can sense that and have agreed to work with us. So that's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how much of the actual testing and vetting process you were through, but did you have any criteria that I guess a dictation solution had to meet in order to take it on?
Yes, because so the biggest thing is if we're going to improve the efficiency for our doctors in completing their medical records, we can't be like constantly backtracking and correcting words and typos and those types of things.
Yeah.
So, the functionality of Talkatoo where you can tell it to learn your words,
Hmm.
learn what it is you mean so that it can type those things in correctly without you having to keep going back.
Yep.
I love the punctuation that you guys added in and the ability for us to just say period and then it just types a period.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has made it so much smoother in completing our records. And so for us, those are really kind of the two biggest things. It needs to be able something that's convenient for us. And I'm sorry, my computer just keeps going off.
I know.
Um, it needs to be something that's convenient for us. It needs to be something that is a product that is constantly looking to make improvements on it, right? So technology is always changing and improving, and our needs at our practice are always changing and improving. And so we need products that are going to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the basic criteria for us. Hmm.
Okay. I'm curious, when did you come on as a talk to customer? Did we have punctuation and stuff built in at that point, or was that
No, you didn't. I don't know. My life is a bit of a blur, so I'm not really sure when we actually came on with Talkatoo, but it was,
that's okay. I can look that up anyway.
yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
I was curious if it was
Yeah,
before or after
yeah,
the punctuation. So it's nice that you've been able to see us kind of improving the product, and we're going to continue
yeah,
that. And based on any feedback that you or other vets have, we're always there's
yeah,
constant improvements coming. So it's awesome to see that you got to see that.
yeah. The other thing I like about Talkatoo is how responsive you guys are when we have a question or a problem.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure this is typical for most veterinarians, especially practice owners. We get very busy,
Hmm.
and then it's like those squirrel moments where you're like, "Oh, I don't know if I responded to that email." Like,
Yeah.
not only does your support team get back to us right away, but then they check back in to make
Mhm.
sure that the solution has worked, and that's really crucial for me, especially because I tend to lose track.
Yeah, yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, it's that's the thing I think we struggle with maybe
Yeah.
most of the company is getting a hold of vets because
Yeah.
obviously we're very, very busy people.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
understand and respect that you're busy, but we also want to
Yeah.
ideally support you. But it's good when we can sync up like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, awesome. So I guess my next question is around measuring success. So I didn't know if you had any kind of success measures that if this came on, or if you brought Talk to on, if there's any success measures that you measured, or if it was more just feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit difficult in emergency medicine because we don't have appointments.
Hmm.
You like think something's going to be simple and then it's not, and then three patients get pushed back because you're dealing with this complex patient. So, for us, it's really difficult to say, really give hard numbers for things. What I told my doctors is that I want all of my doctors to be out of the building within an hour and a half after the end of their shift.
Oh wow.
Um, and if it's getting beyond that, then I harp on them a lot. I send them text messages like, hey, have you left yet? Because I'm really insistent and protective over their work life balance and their ability to refresh outside of the clinic. So for me, it was more so, can I get you out of here on time, which would be completely ideal. But if I can't, is it within an hour and a half after you leave?
Hmm.
You've got your records completed. You don't feel this need that you need to do records from home. I mean, it's great that we have cloud-based software. They can access it anywhere in the world. But ideally, I don't want them doing work at home. I want them
Yeah.
doing their work in the clinic so that when they get home, they have that clear distinction, that clear boundary, and they can just relax.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the parameters, success parameters for us, is checking in with my staff and my doctors and saying, hey, how are you feeling about this? Do you think it's improved things? We had a couple of doctors on our team that were hesitant to use Talkatoo initially because they kept insisting that they type very quickly,
Mhm.
and they don't need a dictation software. And then about 2 months in, they were begging me for the login. Where's the login? I need to get onto this. So, I see that it has really helped them get their records done in a timely manner to where sometimes they're getting to the end of their shift. They do rounds for the oncoming doctor and then they leave, which is, so great for them. And they're so thankful and happy when they get to do that. So for us, I think the success parameters are more so based on that. How do my doctors feel as far as can they have that good work-life balance, and when they're at home, they can just be at home and not have records looming.
Yeah.
So not a definitive number, but
Yeah. Yeah.
worked for us.
Yeah, you know if it's working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I'm curious about the workflow too. Did your workflow change as a result of using Talkatoo? Like I know what I kind of understand is in an ideal world, you'd complete your exam, and obviously I'm not a vet, so I'm not speaking from a place of
Mhm.
knowledge, but you complete your exam, and then after the fact, like directly after, it'd be ideal if you could do the records right away,
Mhm.
top of mind. But
Yeah.
in reality, I don't think that plays out super often because you're moving from one to the next to the next.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so where does Talk to fit in? Is it something that's enabled you to kind of do right after the exam because it's quicker, or is it just at the end of the day you do records quicker because you can speak as opposed to type?
I think it varies a little bit. So it did change our workflow and our kind of model for doing things.
Mhm,
We have kind of a hybrid system that we use, and I give doctors kind of two options on those workflows. So one would be, we have cloud-based software and we have a lot of built-in templates for our physical exam findings and so forth. And so for the physical exam, it's actually quicker for them to just do their template, check off a couple boxes, boom, done.
mhm,
But then when we get, so part of their workflow is they do their physical exam, they enter their physical exam findings in right away. They come up with an initial assessment for a patient, and then they use Talkatoo to enter in notes into their plan section so they can kind of formulate an idea in their head already before they talk to a client what it is that they want to recommend for diagnostics, what their suspicion is as far as the diagnosis in general, and
mhm.
so forth. And so they utilize it in that area. And then when they're logging their client communication, they will get on the phone with the client. And then as soon as they get off of and they're like kind of typing notes. And then as soon as they get off of the phone, they take those cliff notes and they dictate with Talkatoo into the entire client communication to really make it this nice, solid, rounded out communication log.
Yeah,
And that has been extremely efficient for us. So we
Mhm.
kind of use a hybrid model of using our templates that are built into the system as well as Talkatoo in specific areas.
Yeah.
Um, I also have encouraged them to use Talkatoo when we're doing interpretation of different diagnostics, especially radiograph interpretation. That can be oftentimes easier to just dictate that.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of our main workflow model that we use. Occasionally, when we have multiple critical patients come in at the same time that they're juggling, they will kind of use Talkatoo at the end of the day, at the end of their shift, to go back through and just dictate in
Yeah.
those. They'll type in cliff notes and then they'll go back and
Yep.
use Talkatoo to round everything out. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's super interesting.
hmm
Um, can you tell me a little bit about the initial implementation? I guess who was involved, the time it took, and just the ease, or if it was a difficult process, or
Yeah, it was extremely easy. I
okay.
mean, it's even though I have managers,
Mhm.
I tend to be the one who implements these types of products because I have the vision for the clinic and um, it just works a little bit better if I'm the one kind of pursuing these different technologies and software programs and then implementing them and letting my managers kind of take it from there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it was me that was involved.
Okay.
And then I got my doctors together and we all talked it over in a meeting about how we were going to implement it. And we're the main ones that use it. We do have some logins that the staff in general can use.
Yep.
But I think um, that becomes a little bit overwhelming for them at sometimes because we have such a huge patient volume
Yeah.
that I think for some of the assistants or newer technicians, it can be a little bit kind of deer in the headlights when we're implementing so many things for them. So our staff doesn't use it as much. Us
Okay.
doctors, we use it multiple times a day, every day. I actually use it for my emails.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it for emails.
Yeah. Me too.
I love it when I'm making like team huddles, like
Mm.
little newsletters for my team. I love using it for that.
Yeah.
I mean, just I use it every day.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious when you first. I guess I know you weren't necessarily looking for a solution, but when you found out about the solution, was that something that you even considered that perhaps I can use this for emails or in other areas or the
yeah,
job?
it didn't even dawn on me, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I will say that especially as I get older, I know I don't look old. I feel old. I feel like I'm 80. um, as I get older, especially if I get like to the end of a shift and I've been doing really intricate surgery the whole time, my hands hurt. I'm like, I cannot sit here and just type and type and type. Like my hands are seizing up and just So I never thought that it could improve my work life balance, even as a practice owner, but it really has.
Mhm.
So it shocked me, and now I just test it out with using it in various things.
Yeah.
Um, I do it a ton for emails. Like I said, that was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, that's something that
yeah,
we do consider kind of a selling point and a really nice feature. But I'm often curious if it kind of translates. But it sounds
yeah,
like it takes a little bit of time, and then you're like, oh, actually, I can use this elsewhere.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that's really good to hear.
yeah,
So you said it's mostly just the doctors in your clinic using
yeah.
the software. And yeah, you're not really planning to onboard any new users. It sounds like people have the option, but it's not kind of something that you're actively pursuing.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, I mean, really, the only reason for that, and this coming year, our theme for 2021 is to level up. Like
Mhm.
our whole team needs to level up. They're just this year has been survival mode for so many reasons. I mean, all these clinics around us closing, a couple of ERs in the area not having doctors for multiple shifts. So we really suddenly got 2 to 3 times the patient load that we were used to in a very short time frame, and I think it was just kind of survival mode this year. um, and any new protocols we brought on, you could see my staff kind of like bug-eyed, like, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" So, our goal for this next year is to really how can we utilize our technology that we have in the clinic
Yeah.
more efficiently, to keep improving our efficiency so that, things run a lot smoother.
Mhm,
And so I do see Talkatoo being incorporated into that.
mhm.
Again, it'll probably be some type of a hybrid system because we don't have in emergency medicine. It's not like you have, oh, here's, 10 spays that I have today. So I'm going to have the same template. Like every patient is so unique and their diseases are so complex. So I could see my staff being able to utilize Talkatoo in that fashion because we can't utilize templates for some of those situations, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So next year.
Yeah, yeah. Um, cool. The next is kind of about how you've kind of implemented across the practice. Is it installed on, like, all of the different computers? In terms of, like, microphones, do you have I'm not sure what the microphone setup you currently have. I know
Yeah.
we recommend the Philips, but oftentimes people have their own mics.
Yeah.
What's the setup
Um,
in the clinic?
we have a couple of the microphones from you guys.
Okay.
We have one set up in the doctor's office area that they tend to use. One of them is actually set up in our main treatment area as well. Dr. Brown really likes to use it there because it is pretty good at picking up her voice despite a lot of barking dogs and
Yeah.
chaos and
Yeah.
ensuing. Um, I actually have found that I prefer my earbuds with
Okay.
microphone, so I have multiple different sets of these.
Yeah.
And, I prefer this because if I don't have something plugged into my computer, it picks up all the barky dog in the background, or it picks up my staff talking.
Got
And
it.
it makes for some interesting client
Yeah.
communication
Yeah.
logs.
Great.
So yeah, we have various microphone setup, but we do have Talkatoo is on, I think all of our technicians' laptops that we have, it's installed in the doctor's office, it's installed in the manager's office, it's installed on our personal computers as well so that we can keep doing, things from home if we need to. I
Yeah.
really encourage them not to, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, does that mean you have a Mac and a PC implementation, or is it mainly PC for you guys, or
just PC.
just PC? Okay.
Yeah, just PC.
Yeah, awesome. Um, Next section was just about kind of benefits and results. You've kind of touched a lot on this already, but the first one was just on the end users. So your team,
Mhm.
what kind of positive impact has it had there? We've kind of covered that. If you want to skip it, it's quite all right. The other one was just on
Yeah.
the old practice overall. So including patients, like, is there any benefits that I guess patients have noticed, or maybe not noticed, but they've had as a result of perhaps speeding up records and
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because the reality is that as a doctor, if you're spending your time working on records and
Mhm.
paperwork and all this stuff when you're trained to be a doctor, you're trained
Yeah,
to be paying attention to your patient and oftentimes in our cases are so complex, we're challenged every day. We have to look things up. We're
yeah.
and so what I have seen is that now my doctors don't have to focus as intensely on their records,
Mhm.
or they also don't have this nagging sensation in the back of their head like, hey, I'm really exhausted after this very draining shift, but
Yeah,
oh my gosh, now I have all these records to do. It's improved the efficiency so much in our practice that they're able to focus more on their patients and fine tuning the treatments, right? Which I do think has improved morale in my clinic, which is a huge, um, for us, that's a big, huge success measure in our practices. We have a certain culture that we want to maintain that we're very insistent upon.
yeah,
And as soon as we start to see morale dropping in any fashion, it's an immediately like powwowing to figure out how to bring it up. And this has been the game changer for us is making things more efficient where my doctors can get things done in a timely manner.
right.
Because honestly, not only then do they get to leave shift and go home and not have to think about their record, they
Mhm.
also, when they're on shift, are able to just focus on the dog in front of them or the cat in front of them and make those changes that they're trained to do.
Yeah,
They feel more purposeful and accomplished. Those
yeah,
are the words that they've described to me when I talk to them and say, "Hey, how's this going? How's this new workflow working?" And that I've seen definitely a positive change in all of them with it.
yeah. Oh, that's super
So
cool.
yeah,
We have we have a framework that we follow, and it really does touch on it. We call it the happiness metric, but it's similar to morale, and it's interesting. They
yeah,
talk about happiness being a predictive measure, whereas people may be unhappy, but performance or I guess key performance indicators don't actually drop, but it's an indicator that
Right,
in the future they will. So it's like everything
right,
on your bottom line might look good, and then you just notice the massive drop, and you're wondering why, and it's because actually happiness dropped first.
right, right. That's what I
Yeah,
tell people, I feel like I took all these business courses in vet school, and
yeah,
then when I got out of school and I went to go open my own clinic and I didn't listen to anything I learned in those classes, and I remember thinking, "I'm gonna fail. We're just gonna fail." You know? And, I think just we've just had this kind of radical idea of focusing on, like you said, that I think that's a good way to say it, the happiness factor, right?
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
we're very insistent on this work culture that we have developed at EVH. We're
Yeah.
very protective over it,
Mhm.
and, as soon as we start seeing morale shift
Yeah.
downwards in any fashion, we implement all kinds of measures,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Even before the measurable things happen, like revenue drops or patient
Exactly.
care slipping or anything like that, so, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Super cool. It's definitely, I can tell why, I guess you've been able to make it work for so long. It sounds like you're doing a lot of things right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, thanks.
yeah. I guess, yeah, I think we've touched on this. It's really just about the future. Do you have any plans of expanding talking in the future you've talked about? Um, I guess finally, like, what would you say to other clinics in the process of choosing a solution like Talkatoo? I guess positive lessons learned or things they should be aware of to make the most of the solution.
I think as veterinarians, we're kind of this unique set of individuals because we're very type A and we're workaholics.
Yeah.
And we also are very frugal people. We don't like to spend a lot of money usually. We're very much do-it-yourselfers type thing. And so I think there are a lot of veterinarians out there that would be hesitant to implement dictation software. Like, how is this really going to benefit me? How is this really going to benefit my practice to implement this?
Mhm.
And what's, for the cost? But for us, it's like priceless the amount of efficiency that it has it's just improved our efficiency so much. I can't measure it. I can't, give you solid numbers on that, but I can tell you that it's a palpable feeling when you enter our facility,
Yeah.
right? You can sense that people are getting their work done on time. People are, not dreading, oh my gosh, yeah, the end of my shift is coming up and now I'm going to be upset because I have to also work from
Yeah.
home instead of focusing on, my family. And that is priceless. And to me, I think that in veterinary medicine, we need to just start to understand that if we can focus on improving the life of our team, it's going to just flow through to improving our patient care and improving our revenue in the end. So
Mm.
it's well worth the investment, even if you can't see that the number wise, the financial return initially, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I can tell you number wise that just by being more efficient this year, that our revenue for the whole year as a whole is up over 45%,
wow.
which is insane considering we've been open for 8.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep thinking we're gonna like reach that plateau point that they always talk about in those business courses, and we just kind of like, and it's like as soon as we implemented this, um, our revenue just followed because we were able to see so many more patients.
Wow.
And for us, I mean, um, our mission is to make a positive impact on our patients and our colleagues and all these things. So for us, being able to see that positive impact on our patients and on our clients because we're able to spend more time with them instead of just focusing on paperwork, it's just priceless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think every clinic should implement this. It's been so easy. It's just been such a positive change. There's nothing negative about it from our
Awesome.
aspect. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
this has been awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really
Yeah,
appreciate
no problem.
you taking the time, and I really admire what you've done and what you're doing. So
Thank you.
keep it up, and yeah,
A lot of
much
hard
appreciated.
work.
Yeah. So,
It's a lot of hard work,
yeah.
so, hence the tinsel in my hair.
But no, I'm glad we could do this, and I'm glad that
Yeah,
talk is actually making a meaningful difference. It's part of why I do this as well. And it's really awesome to hear it from your mouth directly. So
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think that sometimes it's hard to know, I know you guys aren't in veterinary medicine. You're not
yeah,
veterinarians. You're
no,
not a technician,
no,
but so I think sometimes it's hard for people to understand the impact that their product, right? If you just are talking about software or those types of things,
yeah,
one of my brother-in-laws is a software engineer, and I think sometimes it's hard for him to see the end product or the end result of the thing that he's working on.
yeah,
So I think this is actually really cool that you guys get to see this now that,
yeah,
because of this product that you guys are working so hard on, we've been able to change the lives of so many other patients that honestly before we were efficient, but like nowhere near as efficient as we are now, right? Like
yeah,
we thought we were efficient, but we were not.
yeah,
We were not compared to what we are now. And it just means we're able to reach so many more patients who have a chance at our practice.
yeah,
Maybe we get a lot of patients transferred to us that other clinics say, no, it won't work. No, don't treat them. Just put them down. And we take them all on. And so to have something that improves our efficiency to the point that we can save those animals or at least work harder to save them is, um, I hope that you guys can at least take away from that you are making a difference with it.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I think I'm gonna cut that and just share that with the team. That's amazing. It's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
really add a bit of I guess a bit more drive for us to continue doing what we're
yeah,
doing. It's
absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
And anytime, if as you guys are making improvements or whatever, if you need us to beta anything,
Yeah,
that's what we're here for.
yeah. We definitely take you up on that because we're always pushing things, and it's the best case scenario is to have some small group of people try it before everyone else tries it to make
Right,
sure it's actually wanted, needed, and works. So,
right,
um, I'll
right.
definitely, yeah, definitely keep you on the list for that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Great.
Well,
Thanks so much. All right.
not a problem. You have a good Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
All
See ya.
right. Bye-bye.